Hi, welcome to Soul Chat. I'm Lainey Risto, and to my right is...
I'm Wayne Hildebrand from Spiritus Reiki Center.
Who also happens to be a sponsor of the show. And you're located at...
I got to remember all of this?
Yeah.
4170. We do this every week. South Decatur Boulevard, Suite D9. Unless you're coming for a big event, then it's Suite D11.
But it's all right there.
But it's all right there. You can't miss it. A sign will be out front directing you.
Yeah. So today we have a special guest that's coming on, and it's Sarah Stone. She's an animal communicator.
And she's pretty, too.
Yeah, I know you noticed that.
Okay, and tall.
And tall.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and she's an animal communicator. She's going to possibly have her own show here one of these days, right? So we invited her to come on and kind of understand the ropes like we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we're professionals.
Sure
Just
we are.
watch our mistakes.
Sure we are. But she is going to be at Spiritus Reiki Center on... we should...
March...
She's
March
whispering.
14th. She's whispering over here.
Yeah,
March 14th.
yeah. We'll talk more about that once she
Yes,
gets
she will.
on.
Thank you. Yeah, but she'll be there every week doing a healing circle. So
for dogs,
it's going to be pretty cool.
Kitties.
You bring in
animals. You don't bring the animals, though.
Nope, no animals. Just bring yourself and write down on a piece of paper the names and what's the problem, and she'll connect to her angels.
And we'll get.
It's
more
a beautiful
into that.
thing. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And how did she? She just kind of showed up, huh? Spirit brought her to us.
It's like a puppy dog. She just showed up at the front door, and I said, "Okay, come in. Here's some water," and she was all happy to hang around.
Yeah.
It's like a stray, homeless stray. No, I met her over at Goldie's balancing class on second Tuesday of every month, and I went over there to see Sarah.
Oh, wow.
Because I'd heard about her and I wanted to meet her. And next thing we know, we're having a couple-hour chat.
And then I got to meet her yesterday.
And you got to meet her yesterday, and we had another couple-hour chat.
That was fun.
Girl can chat, huh?
Yeah. No. So I have a surprise for you.
Really?
Yeah, I have a surprise for you. Actually, it was a surprise. It's actually a surprise for me, but you're going to like it. You better like it.
Okay, I like it.
Okay. I want to shout out to Diane in Oklahoma because she called in and said how much she loves our show. Oklahoma. We made it to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Diane, I love you.
Actually, she loves me. She thinks I'm very pretty and talented and a strong woman. You're not going to argue, are you?
She's from Oklahoma. Out there, their husbands beat them.
Okay, I can see. I have to reprogram you. I have to reprogram you after the show. We're going to go right into what did I learn about myself last week.
Okay. So who's going to start this time?
I will. Yesterday, everybody's heard that has listened in for the last couple of weeks, and those of you that haven't, I've been having this cold, plague, virus, whatever that thing is. It's been carrying on. And finally last week I gave up on Friday and said, I give up. I have a sinus infection, and I actually went to a doctor.
Do you know what? And just a side note, that's super important for people to understand. Mm-hmm. We're healers. We can only do so much. And it's funny because my story is going to be about the same thing, about a different type of thing that had to go to the doctor. But that's important that we realize that we're healers. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you just have to go visit the doctor. Sometimes there's a reason that you're supposed to go to that doctor.
You realize this is on tape.
Yeah. Doggone it. I forgot. I mean, never go to... No, I'm kidding.
So, I had all weekend and probably what was yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. I lost like 3 days there, and I could barely hold my head up, and I couldn't look at a computer screen and without getting a headache, and, and it finally cut loose yesterday a little bit, and today I've been actually up and around all day with only a few hours sleep, so that's not bad.
Oh, not bad at all.
Not bad at all. But what I got during that time was, other than it's time to take care of myself, because I am getting older, and you're trailing right along behind there, so don't get too righteous about it.
Yeah, but I'm continuously the same distance behind you.
Yeah. I just remind you it's coming up, So the other thing is yesterday before we saw Sarah, you and I were listening to Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there were his 10 favorite points that he always liked to make. And there are some goods in there, like good things like, thoughts become things, whatever you're thinking, that's what's going to happen, that kind of stuff. But the one that really got me was he was talking about habits, and he was talking about relationships. And I realized last night as I'm trying to go to sleep at about midnight, it wasn't working. I started looking at it. We can't get through this life without a relationship of some kind.
Absolutely.
Unless you want to go be one of those Tibetan monks that sits in a cave
Which
we
I
can
don't.
try.
I don't understand the purpose of that. So
Well,
that's
it's
another
something
whole
about
story.
quiet and solitude and focus, and all
Really?
of which you don't have.
Wow. Wait a minute.
No wonder
Hold
you
on
don't
there. I'm
understand
kind of liking
it.
this now.
So what I looked at and I started looking at, and he told this story, and I was telling you on the way here, about a woman who had written down, he had a thing where you wrote down 5 chapters in your life and to start with something and how it changed over time. And so in this particular chapters that she wrote, the first one was she walked down this road and she fell in a hole. And after she fell in the hole, she got lost. She couldn't find her way out. Okay. The second chapter was she walked down the road. She saw the hole and she walked right into it anyway, and she still couldn't get out. The next one was she saw the hole, she fell in it, but this time she figured out how to get out. She found a rope. She asked for help, something.
I don't want to say this, but this is not a blonde joke, right?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No. So never mind. Anyway, the next time she walked down the road, she saw the hole and she walked around it and bypassed falling in the hole.
She dyed her hair.
The next time, you're going to be sitting between
I
two
know.
blondes. You should be very quiet. The next time, she just walked down a different road.
Yeah,
and I
there's
started
the key.
looking at, when I listened to that, and I started looking at, well, the one that followed it was important too. The one was don't die with the music in you, which really comes home to me.
That's one of my favorites that he has said.
So I started looking at how many times have I had relationships with people, whether it's been a primary partnership, whether it's been a friendship, and something about it has gone awry. I mean, nothing in our world never really is a bad thing because we're always going to learn
Have
it.
I pissed you off again?
No, but you're
Okay,
about
good.
to. So anyway.
Just checking.
So I started looking at it, and I shared with you that I had a shamanic journey done for me this week, and it looked at the threads of my past relationship with my ex-husband, how there were still threads of that I was still bringing along with me. I expect people to not be available. I expect people to let me down. I expect people to not make time for me. So when somebody finally does do one of those things or all of those things, it's like, oh, this can't be happening. I've just fallen in that hole again.
Right. I need to get out of this mess.
I need
this
to get
can't
out
happen.
because this isn't going to happen, so I'm going to walk away. I mean, how many times have I said, I'm gone, I'm out, and I'm still here. So there you go. But I started looking at that and realized, it's time for me. How old am I going to be before I let go of those threads of relationships that just don't work for me anymore? And how soon am I going to recognize the hole early or decide, that's a road I've been down. I'm going to try something different.
Right. Wow.
And that just sort of opened up perspective for me, which that's another one of his things, was that if you want to change the way things look, you have to change your perspective.
So how long is it going to be? Are we getting closer?
About 5 minutes after we leave here.
Okay, good. Perfect. All good. Life is going good.
So that's what I learned, is that I'm still, even though with all the work that I've done, all the spiritual work that I've done, I still pack those expectations with me that are threads to the past that don't exist anymore. I loved him. Even after we divorced, I loved him. I just couldn't live with him. But he's passed on. So how long am I going to hold on to this?
But that's something that Ileana said to us last night when she was passing by and we were talking about my situation. She said, Wayne, you're not Superman.
That's right.
Even though I was wearing red panties and everything.
You tried to convince us, and nobody wanted to look, so that's fine. So, what did you learn?
Well, it's funny because we're getting ready to come over here, and Lainey's talking to me on the phone, and I'm saying, so what did I learn this week? Because I've had a lot of lessons. Every week I get a lot of lessons. Have you noticed
Especially
this?
when I'm around to point them out.
Phew, man. So she says, well, I think doubt was part of it. So I realized there's a new math. Yep. Doubt equals trust. Trust equals ego. Equals oops. Okay.
Now tell me how doubt equals trust.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, because it's all part of the ego. So if we'll just give you really quick, my daughter gave a little scare. She's had a knot on her breast for about 3 months, and we've had some Reiki masters. My angels over at the center have been doing Reiki on her. I've been doing Reiki on her. And
I was on standby.
You were on standby. Yours is when she comes in and has to go under the rattle.
Under the rattle. Under the rattle.
So we've been going through this, and I keep telling her, honey, it's not the C word, so don't worry about that because I'm not feeling that. So she called up 2 days ago, and she says, Pops, I went down the internet and I found every symptom I have. You know, my breast is red and it's hard.
I hope she knows you're talking about this on air.
She'll
Okay,
be
go
okay.
ahead. Okay, all right.
And
knowing you, she probably will. Yeah.
She said, she says, I have this rare form of cancer that goes right to stage 3. And immediately I went into every doubt I could come up with that everything I have just told her over the past 3 months was wrong. And then suddenly it's like, I couldn't remember telling her to go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. I couldn't remember telling her to go to the doctor. I'm thinking, did I tell her that, that just let the healing happen and blah, blah. The doubt went crazy in me. So I went into the center, as you know, and in our great room, I walk a medicine wheel out of Sedona. So I walk this medicine wheel, and I am pounding this drum, thinking I'm ripping my drum apart. I am yelling and screaming and having my little meltdown because I'm in total doubt. So I get done with this meltdown. I'm getting no answers. I get done with this meltdown. I throw the drum, lands on a chair. I throw the drumstick as I'm walking out the door, back over my head, lands on a chair.
But he didn't know it till I told him, because I picked it
me.
up the next day. Yeah.
So as I get into my truck and I start to head home, I'm like, what is it? I'm telling him, look, I can die. I'm okay. If you want to take me, I'm ready. Don't take her. She's got kids, little kids.